Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina. I'm Sam Thompson and I'm proud to be your 66th president. We're coming to you live from the Edina Country Club and also on Zoom. So we have 39 people live and I believe we have about a little over 20 on Zoom today. In late August, the Excelsior Morning Rotary Club took the initiative to help the businesses that were affected by the rioting in May after the killing of George Floyd. Our District 5950 and Tom Gump, our district governor, got behind this initiative. The Excelsior Club was working with the Lake Street Council, and what they plan on doing is pairing 25 of these businesses that have been affected by the rioting with interested Rotary clubs. And we joined, as did 11 other clubs in our district. The Rotary clubs that are going to support the businesses are going to do this by buying products and services, telling other businesses, or telling others about their business, help clean up and get ready for these businesses to open, donate their time and money, and help with mentoring various business practices such as marketing, finances, leadership, and personnel. So before we made this commitment, our Community Services Project Committee put out a survey to our members. And we wanted to gauge the interest of our membership with supporting this initiative. And so I want to share with you 6 of the questions and answers that came out of this survey. The first one was, would you support this initiative by buying products and services from a Lake Street business? And 37% of you said yes. 58% of you said yes, but you want to know what the business was that we're matched up with first. Then, would you provide mentorship or expertise? And 13% of you said yes, 52% of you said yes, but once again you want to know what the business is. Would you support one of these businesses by word of mouth, with social media posts, and assist in advertising? And 55% of you said yes, and 32% of you once again wants to know what the business is first. And would you be willing to provide physical labor for cleanup or construction? And we had 59% of you said you certainly would. Well, then we wondered about our own members here with our own businesses. And how are our businesses holding up through COVID and the civil unrest? So one of the questions was, has your business been negatively impacted by COVID and civil unrest? And 44% of you said yes, and 56% of you said no. So it was almost half and half. So we thought, if our members were really affected by all of this, is there a way we could help? And one thought was to come out with a business directory of our members' businesses that we could be supporting that. So we asked, do you need our club's help in supporting your business? And 90% of you said no. 10% of you said yes. So from that result, we're not going to be moving forward with any business directory. Regarding the Lake Street Rotary Partnership, we hope to know what business will be matched with soon. And Lisa Walker, our Community Service Project Chair, is looking for a volunteer to champion this. So if any of you want to help with this, we would really appreciate it. Just let Lisa know or let me know. And I want to thank all of you that have expressed interest in supporting, this project. Action needs to be taken to help the unfortunate businesses, and Rotarians are people of action. Okay, member update. It's with sadness that I pass on the news that Bill Klein's passed on October 8th. Please keep David, his son, who's one of our members, and the rest of his family in your prayers. And I also have more sad news. Jim Ryman's daughter, Molly, lost her baby on October 7th, 13 days before it was to be delivered. So please keep Jim and Deb in your prayers, and also to help Molly and Matt cope with the unexpected loss. Katie and Ralph Campbell's son Jack completed a year of officers' basic training in Virginia. And now he's on specialty mission training to be a pilot of unmanned aircraft systems. So congratulations, Corporal Second Lieutenant Jack. And Steve and Nancy Slices, they've been blessed with twin grandsons born on October 3rd. Lucas, who's 4 pounds, 14 ounces, and Samuel, who's 5 pounds, 2 ounces. And Mom Allison, Dad Taylor, and their little 2.5-year-old Charlotte are thrilled. And in the news, we wanted to share a couple of photos from our vocational happy hour on October 7th. This was the first meeting we've had in a long time where we had it live. We had it both live and on Zoom at Scott Hawkins' chiropractic business. And we did keep our distance. Robb Breding was the presenter, and he gave a nice talk on his career. So that was really great. We're always looking for speakers. It's the first Wednesday of the month, so if you're interested, see Renee Harberts or Wade Thoman if you'd like to do that. And one more slide here on Rotary News. The Amazing Race World Polio Day is October 24th, and our district is putting on what's called the Amazing Race to End Polio. And it's an interactive virtual event that is on the 24th between 9 and 10. It's a fun scavenger hunt to secure 10 items. And if you're the first team to do it, you are awarded a Paul Harris Fellowship. And to register, you just go to our district website at rotary5950.org, and the cost is only 10 cents. And that's what it costs to vaccinate a child, is 10 cents to protect them against polio. We have a couple birthdays coming up. Paul and Don, happy birthday. And Rotary Anniversaries, we are backtracking because we missed a day in October, but we have 3 anniversaries that we'd like to share with you. So congratulations. And assisting off podium, our greeter is Catherine Gump. On Zoom is Robb Breding. I think Robb is in the room, am I not mistaken? I thought he was doing double duty, so he's in the room and he's also Zooming it. What a guy. Front desk is Susan Johnson. Helping Becky, photographer, is Rick Carlson. I saw him roaming the room. And for safety of others, please, after you're done eating, put your mask on. We would really appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to call up David Hatzung for Invocation, Pledge, and the 4-way test.
Thank you, Sam. What a great group, huh? Nice news update. Often when people join Rotary, they talk about giving back to the community as one of the reasons for them joining. This is a devotion from a book called God Calling by A.J. Russell, and reminds me of that. Give abundantly, feel that you are rich. Have no mean thought in your heart, of love, of thought, of all you have, give. You are followers of the world's greatest giver. Give of time, of personal ease, of comfort, of rest, of fame, of healing, of power, of sympathy. Learn this lesson and you'll become a great power to help others and to do mighty things. Dear Lord, bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies and us to thy service. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Sorry about that. Let's start over. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Rotary 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
We have one guest today. Don Hutchinson has got Kate D'Amato.
Kate, stand up. Here's Kate.
You want to introduce her?
Yeah. Kate is back here for the second time. She's here a couple weeks ago. I know Kate through the Chamber of Commerce, and she's in the commercial real estate business. Welcome back, Kate.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, for for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lindsay Smaka. I teach science, primarily chemistry, at the high school, Edina High School. I am also coordinating the new program, which is graciously sponsored by the Rotary, and have been having a lot of fun with it. We just started recruiting students in the spring and officially launching it this fall. And right now I have 7 signed up for the capstone course. So as a part of the course, part of the program, it's Rotary involvement, a global experience, coursework, and then this capstone course. So these 7 students are researching those countries listed, and I'm currently in the works of trying to place them in some sort of internship or volunteer experience or mentorship type of thing. So in the past Barker, I believe, there was a plea for help, looking for placements for these students. So far I have 2 of the 7 placed with local mentors. The biographies of these students are listed in the document, and if you could take a look at that, that would be wonderful. They'll also be here during the October 29th meeting and the November 5th meeting to chat a little bit about their various projects they're working on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would say that heading up the social committee during a pandemic is kind of a challenge, trying to create events that are safe. But we have one, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. There are flyers, I think, on the tables. We've got a Cooks of Crocus Hill virtual cooking night, and it's going to be Thursday, November 12th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And the cost for that is $69. And during this experience, chefs will demonstrate and guide us as we prepare an Italian meal that's going to consist of a spring green salad with a citrus vinaigrette, penne pasta with cherry tomatoes and pesto, and a dessert of panna cotta with fresh berries. The real important thing about this is we need to have you register and pay for it by October 27th. If we don't have enough people signed up for it, then we won't be able to do it, and your money would be refunded at that point. Yeah, Mike?
Is the food included in that price?
The food is not included. So what would happen is the $69 is for the class, basically. And a week beforehand, they will send out a recipe as well as a shopping list for you. And then you can go and pick that up. But you could have as many people in your kitchen Zooming with you doing the class as you want. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, good to see everybody. I'm just here to talk about the leadership series that we're doing. It's going to happen again next week on Tuesday evening. I think the slide's up there. Loberg is going to be coming to speak with us about communication. And a little bit about the series to just remind you. This is a series that we're going to meet every month, second Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. via Zoom. The goal is to provide some mentorship and some support for people that are looking to grow and become better as leaders. And we got various topics, so most of them around soft skills. And and we just would love to have more Rotarians come. And then the other thing to mention is that it's open to the public. So this is an opportunity, and it's actually a part of membership, right, Sam? And so this is an opportunity for you to invite people in to see a glimpse of what some of the things that we do here at Rotary. And we're trying to have Rotarians do the presentations, and I've got many of you lined up to do future presentations for us. But this one I'm especially excited about. It's next Tuesday, 6 p.m. with Shelley, and I'll be your host, and I hope you can join us on Zoom. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Rob, for taking on the leadership series. He's doing a great job. Now I'd like to introduce Joe Arends, who will be introducing our speaker today. Joe has been a member of Rotary since 2005, and he was sponsored by Bill McCready. He served on our board of directors And he's also serving on local projects committee, and he's the past chair of that committee, and the local grants committee, and Camp Enterprise. He's the senior vice president at North American Banking Company, and he's been there for 15 years. And he's a proud father of 2 adult daughters and grandfather of 2 4-year-old grandson Liam and 10-year-old granddaughter Olivia. Come on up, Joe.
Thanks, Sam. Your granddaughter's 10 months old. Don't date me that much yet. Well, I'm really pleased to be here to introduce our guest speaker today. Sondra Samuels is the president and CEO of the Northside Achievement Zone. NAZ, as it is commonly known, is a collaborative of over 40 partner nonprofits and schools. Along with parents, students, partners, and staff, Sondra is leading a revolutionary culture shift in North Minneapolis focused on ending multi-generational poverty through education and family stability. The NAZ Collaborative is working toward a single goal: to prepare low-income North Minneapolis children to graduate from high school, college, and career ready. NAZ has scaled up in support of over 1,000 parents and 2,300 students as they turn the social service model on its head and lead the creation of a college-bound culture throughout the community. It was recently announced that NAZ is concluding a fundraising campaign that raised more than $35 million from corporations, foundations, and individuals to support its causes and objectives. As an aside, our Rotary Club is very fortunate to have had Sondra take part in Camp E as a presentation speaker in the past. Please join me in providing a warm Rotary welcome to Sondra Samuels.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that nice and short intro. Good afternoon, everybody. I did do Camp E, and it was like so much fun. Okay, I like rapped for the kids, and I had there were 2 teenagers there that knew me, and so I was like super cool in their eyes after that. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me. I love the Rotary Club so much. I feel very American when I come here. And the good side of America. I mean, can you go wrong with this 4-way test? No. I mean, you just can't. And I want to spend 20 minutes telling you about the Northside Achievement Zone. And I do feel very patriotic these days. And I am a woman of the world too. But I have been fortunate enough to be born in the United States of America. And I remember one time when I was really in my youth, very disgruntled with America and racism and all that I saw in terms of the disparities. I'm 54 now. And my father, who grew up in Jim Crow South with white water fountains and black water fountains and was discriminated against repeatedly, was just a kind man. He was a longshoreman in New Jersey. And I remember saying, oh, I had just a list of what I was disgruntled with America about. And my father just looked at me and he said, Sandy, and he had a sweet smile on his face, and he said, if you don't like the country, leave. He said, and then go wherever you're going, baby, and I'll support you, and tell me if it's any better, right? And what he was trying to say is all places have their challenges, right? But we certainly are fortunate in this country to be able to call out those challenges without fear of, well, in the past, of being harmed. So I'm going to start with a couple songs. Who's in their 50s? Who's in their 50s? Anybody else in their 50s? Okay, ho, 50-ish. Do you remember Schoolhouse Rock? All right, so you guys sing along with me. We're going to do a little patriotism for a minute, okay? Remember We the People? All right, let's do it. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. I'm not going to hit that high note. Do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Thank you. That was so good. You know, I've been carrying my Declaration of Independence, my preamble to the Constitution, and my Bill of Rights around. Like, I know I am really weird, but I just think it's just so important for us to remember the strong foundation we're standing on. And the Northside Achievement Zone is really in the spirit of what this country has always intended, that we would be better generation after generation, right? And then I got totally captured by Hamilton. How many of you saw Hamilton? Right? Hello? You know, putting bringing history alive, and it wasn't completely accurate, okay? But bringing history alive in such a way till who was the autobiographer of Hamilton? He wrote, right, Ron, right? So Ron said that prior to the play, whenever he went to Barnes and Nobles or any stores and he did readings about people he was writing about, nobody there was under 50. And he said after Hamilton, he said, you know, nobody there was, people there could be seen as being as young as 5. He said 11-year-olds came up to him and told him how wonderful they thought he was because of the play. And so, you know, in the play, they have so many great things that they talk about. One being, we are so lucky to be alive right now. Remember that? And we really are. We're lucky to be alive right now with all the challenges we have today, with every single one of them. This is our opportunity to live out this 4-way test. We get to do that. We get to be the lights. He also said that history has its eyes on us. And it does. Because we always look back and judge the past, don't we? And we wonder how our country had slaves. We wonder how our country gave smallpox deliberately to the indigenous community. We wonder how we had children who were working in mines and there were no labor laws, and that when we didn't have labor laws. We wonder how women didn't have the right to vote. We wonder how, like we always look back and say, wow, you know, we've come a long way, baby. You remember the Virginia Slims commercial? But baby, we got a long way to go. And I will tell you that and I know that the Constitution is so great because the intention of it was to not have complete agreement, but it was to keep working out justice and to keep working out equity. And we know this because in everything that we're facing right now with the pandemic, I'm going to talk to you about the Northside Achievement Zone and what we have done. And I got to tell you, our world is so different right now. Everything that I'm talking about is pre-C-19 hitting us. We do work in North Minneapolis, and 50% of the people that 80% of the people that we work with are African American, low income. 74% make $30,000 or less. So we have been, and when C-19 hit, you know that Black Minnesotans have with the highest age-adjusted death rate. Black Minnesotans, 50% of us applied for unemployment insurance compared to only a quarter of the white community. In terms of food insecurity, Wilder Research just came out with a report and said 83% of Black Minnesotans were talking about food insecurity compared to only 32% of white. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I know many people who are sick right now from C-19. And then, of course, the sickness, the jobs, many of the people that we work with are on the front, they are the frontline workers and didn't have an opportunity to just go home and stay with their kids during school. Some of them lost their jobs, so they were able to. So they're job insecure, housing insecure, food insecure, getting sick. Oh, and then George Floyd happens, which of course was the tip of America's racist iceberg. It's not the iceberg, it is just the tip. All of the things that have gone into communities of color, and I'm speaking specifically about African American North Minneapolis, and I've been living in North Minneapolis for 23 years, by the way. Wouldn't live anywhere else. And I am assaulted by gunshots on the regular. I'm going to talk about that too. But after George Floyd, we had the rioting and looting, supermarkets closed in our neighborhood, which has exacerbated the food insecurity, and schools. So of course, many middle class and upper class kids are either doing hybrid or they have successfully gone back to school, or they have tutors and they have pods. Not so for low-income children of color. They are at home. The kids we work with, they are at home with parents and a parent, largely African-American moms, who again, job insecurity, housing insecurity, get people getting sick around them, then needing to homeschool, because that's what they're doing, because they're not doing hybrid. The kids in public schools are not, in my neighborhood, don't have a choice, right? McKinsey did a report that said within so you know about the achievement gap in Minnesota, that the white kids perform here, black kids perform here, and all the kids in there. And in fact, I'm not even gonna say perform, I'm gonna say that they are educated here. And black kids are educated here, because I don't wanna make it a child problem. We don't have a child problem, we have an adult problem. McKinsey said that if you thought that gap was big, they are projecting that at least another 15 percentage point gap. Okay, and these are all the things that as a Northside Achievement Zone we have been working on. So I'm gonna, and so I feel like we're imperiled, but I still have hope because I know whose shoulder I stand on. That's why I started with the Constitution and all of that great stuff. There was another song, by the way, in Hamilton called "Dear Theodosia." You remember that one? So I'm not singing that, okay? You'll come of age with our young nation, and you know America's very young, right? When you compare us to China, we're not even a speck in our parents' eye. The forefathers' eyes. You'll come of age with our young nation. We'll bleed and fight for you. We'll make it right for you. If we lay a strong enough foundation, we'll pass it on to you. We'll give the world to you. And you'll blow us all away. Someday, yeah, you'll blow us all away. And that is true of every single child. I don't care what class, economic status, immigrant status, race, color, ethnicity. It's true. If we lay a strong foundation and bleed and fight for them, they will absolutely prove us right every single time. So about 2000, so I'm looking here. I always want to look at the screens. So 2011, we started the Northside Achievement Zone. We received $28 million from the administration to scale up our work, place-based, working in North Minneapolis, and our goal has always been to end multi-generational poverty using education and whole family support as the two levers. And that our vision was of a healthy and prosperous North Minneapolis, which was an asset to the region, right? Our region is only as good as our least performing areas. Oh, that's only as good as that. And so we want to be an asset and really add to the area. And our values, but even before George Floyd, were all around racial equity and around focusing on the success of our families and children, on creating a trusting village. Trust is not given, it's earned, and using data to transform our community, data and stories. So this is really the model. Is basically we just said, okay, so if the stuff they say about villages is real, let's create one. And so it's a two-generation approach, focused in North Minneapolis, focused on African American families. We have close to 1,000 families, 2,500 scholars. We call all our baby scholars, and the idea is that we would wrap them around with supports. The same supports that middle class and upper class families give their children all day long. But these children, the only difference is they were born in my zip code, right? And so, and when people will say, we have an $11 million budget, people will say, well, what does it really take all of that? And my question is, well, did it take all of that for you to raise your child? Like, you took them to the dentist, you got them in early childhood spots, the best schools that you could, you sent them to camp tutoring. If you had challenges, once they became weird teenagers, you got them some emotional health support. You got them into the best colleges, ACT, right? Didn't we do all of that? Don't we do all of that? But when it comes to low-income kids, we say, well, if their parents can't do it, oh well, right? And then we wonder why our jails fill up. We wonder why the resentment happens. We wonder why the promise, people get so hopeless when they see a promise there and they feel like they can never reach it. They feel like they can never reach it. So we're trying to change that. So this is the model, 2-generation. We work with both the parents and the children. We call all our babies scholars because we want to get at the belief gap too, not just the opportunity gap in education and jobs and housing and so on. And so every family, most families get a family achievement coach. They work full-time for us, and they help families navigate our system of support, because we're trying to give them exactly what middle-class families would get as well, that kind of support, until they don't need it. That's the whole name of the game. And then they go to the base, and they're helping lift other people up as well. And we are starting to see some of that. We have about 30 to 40 partners, and it's housing organizations, career organizations, health organizations, early childhood, K through 12 schools. We're in public, charter, public district, and parochial. After school summer programs, colleges, and then we have a whole host of parenting education classes, from college-bound babies to college-bound scholars for the older kids, college-bound babies for our children 0 to 3. It's for parents to come and learn great parenting skills, to take what they already know and to add to that, how do you get a child ready for kindergarten on their march to college? It's a 12-week program. Parents love it. By the way, since C-19, we have gone viral on everything. So we're now, the classes that we used to do in person, we now do them online, and we had to switch. We weren't ready for that. And guess what? Our parents love it. We actually have more parents now than we did before, when they had to drudge their way through the snow to our classes. And by the way, when parents graduate from our 0 to 3-year-old class, college-bound babies, the babies graduate too, and we give them these little T-shirts that say college graduate, and the year that they'll graduate. Yeah, you can clap for that. This is something to clap for. Something to clap for. And the year they'll graduate from a 4-year college. And so, and by the way, we got to update, because the newest babies they're 2042. So I'm a little behind right now. It's only because we haven't been in the office. But anyway, because we have mothers, and they're largely mothers, but we have some dads too. They're coming, because for the mothers, it is important for them to live in North Minneapolis. We don't make that same requirement for the dads, because we want them to be able to come and participate in the program. And we have had a father's program as well, which the dads just ate up, because most of our parenting classes have too many women, and guess what, the guys don't talk a lot when we do the parenting classes, but you get them in their own classes and it's a very different thing. So anyway, parenting, and so the whole idea is that if we do this well and we track the data, so Wilder Research does all of our data evaluation, and we have a system called NAS Connects. You can see that in the center of the diagram there. We're tracking data. We're looking at what works in real time and what doesn't work in real time, so that we can change what we're doing on a dime. And so when people ask, so what do you do with the $11 million a year? Why the $35 million on top of the 28 that you were given? Let me just say this really quick. With nonprofits, because we're not making products, everything is based on the number of donors we have. Donors, government, private, individuals, right? And our budget is only as big as our donor pool is. And when you get a grant like $28 million, it kind of jettison, you get bigger than your britches, right? And so the federal government always says they do that so that you can build up local support, right? To meet what the money that stops. So we got $5.5 million a year, and then it was done. And so anyway, the $35 million was the local community saying we're going to fill that gap, because we certainly had a gap after 2016. And we've been building ever since, and it's been incredible. And now we're actually on, because it was large grants. Medtronic gave $5 million over the years, recently. General Mills and Target gave $3 million apiece over a number of years, and so on. U.S. Bank, Best Buy. So I am in love with our region. There are other neighborhoods like ours across the country. There are many of us. When their grant ended, and they got big grants too, they had to shut down. And they would always say to us, Sondra, we don't have the philanthropic community. I don't care. People can talk about our corporations all they want. I know that they give here. And I know that for many of them, Black Lives mattered before Black Lives mattered to most people. And I will say that all day long. Can they do more? I can do more. We all need to. And we continue that conversation. Really quick, with this system of support, we really try to create a team around families. And it's based on what they need. Early childhood scholarships. Some families can't afford to send their children to a high quality center. An after school program, housing support. Right now with C19, we are giving out cash assistance, $100, $200 gift cards. We're partnering with, our parents are in danger, right? Losing their housing, they are not working, and so that's something that we have done and we will continue to do during this emergency. We gave out about 250 Chromebooks. We've spent about $200,000 in rent relief. Because even though there's a rent moratorium, when this is over, it's not as if it's forgiven. They still have to pay it. And who is going to be less able to pay it? Like those of us who have mortgages, if we needed a moratorium, we could get it. But then most of us can pay it. So anyway, so we're doing all of those things. And the money that we have right now that we just raised, again, is to get us to a sustainable place in terms of our $11 million budget. But it is around scholarships, early childhood scholarships. We have given $3 million to low-income families to go to 4-star rated early learning centers. It's for all of our parenting education classes. We have, 4 different curricular offerings, 12 weeks, 8 weeks, so on. We even have a parenting empowerment class that helps people to be able to keep their jobs. Because we've had some parents, because of some emotional challenges, really even when they get placed, they struggle. And this is just one aspect of it. The other one is just personal empowerment. So it's our classes, it's early childhood, it's the coaches. So all of the coaches work for us, and we have about 25 to 30, but they are located in partner sites. So they work, we call ourselves E Pluribus Unum, out of many organizations, one system of support. We pay for all of the evaluations, so Wilder doesn't come on the cheap. We pay for the shared data system. We're getting a new one right now. And then we have staff that lead our education strategy, that lead a community wellness strategy. Right now, so many families are depressed, like just straight up depressed. And we have partners like Washburn Children's Center, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, who now have gone to telehealth. So they can actually see more of our families than they could before when they have to come in. In the medical, the health industry is saying that. So it's really us being able to continue doing what we've been doing and building and making sure we have the staff to do that. We also work on policy, advocate at the Capitol. This can't just be private individuals or corporations because this is a movement for our city, for our state, for our country. And other states come visit us. They used to. And to say, how do you do it here? And part of our secret sauce are people like you. And again, the corporations that we have. I already mentioned COVID and the disparate impact on North Minneapolis, and you can see that now. This is one of our moms. Racism, again, what happens with the police is the tip of the iceberg. Salima died 3 days before George Floyd did of an acute asthma attack. You know how preventable that is? But Salima lived in a very polluted area of North Minneapolis. You know that still happens, right? Where is it? Cancer Alley, I think, is in Louisiana. And of course, we know what's happening in Flint, Michigan with the water. And it's always places where low income, black and brown, and sometimes white, but they're low income, right? Places that have unsafe levels of toxins are able to stay. And we fought to get this metal scrapping yard out of North Minneapolis right by 94. Salima and her children live there. All of them have asthma. All of them have asthma. And guess what exacerbates asthma? Depression, stress, all the things that many of our mothers and our fathers are talking about that's happening with them right now. Oh gosh, I talked to you about the violence, right? So far in Minneapolis alone, 60, and it's not just north, you know that. It's happening in south as well. It's happening in St. Paul as well. It's like a shocker to me, the level in St. Paul as well. 67 people have been murdered, unless I'm one off. 67 people have been murdered. About 14 have been 18 or younger. And then there have been 4,100 violent acts. This is a friend of mine named Devin. He was shot twice in the neck. And trust me when I tell you, any of you would die for Devin to be your son. He is just that kind of kid, you know, that lights up a room and just really like honoring of all people. And so luckily Devin survived. He got shot not far from my house. We actually heard the shooting and then got a call that it was Devin, and his mentor was at our house at the time. Some key things. So these are the outcomes that we were seeing before C-19. And this is the stuff that for us is so imperiled, because if our kids aren't in our academic strategies and they're not getting what they used to get by physically being at school and in their after school and summer programs, and with the level of stress and violence, and by the way, a sense that there is no protection because, oh, I don't know if you heard, but our city council said that they were going to defund the police. We believe that that has exacerbated what's happening right now. Right now, 170 police officers, the city won't say this, but 170 police officers have an attorney and they are filing for PSTD. Right? I mean, the numbers that are on vacation until it comes through, on vacation, taking personal days, I mean, we're down over 100 police officers at the highest time of violence and crime. And then to have a city that says we're getting rid of them, we're just defunding them. So it's like, you know, for people who are of the criminal persuasion for a myriad of different reasons, it's on now. Because the police aren't coming. I don't know if you saw, I mean, they come when they can. And I mean that. Like they literally told us at a community meeting, check it out, folks. We are so strapped right now. And there's so much happening right now. And they are demoralized. How many of you have people who work for you? Ever have people work for you? Can you imagine if you said one day, you know, by the way, my plan is to get rid of all of you. I mean, do you really think you're going to get a high work product? And let's add that it's a risky job, a really crazy risky job. I mean, these are human beings. So yes, we need absolute reform. Yes, yes, yes. And we need police, enough police to protect our communities. And there are some good cops, by the way. There are. And I'm saying both and. By the way, I'm just getting a little bit political with you. I'm one of 8 plaintiffs that are suing the city of Minneapolis, and I'm doing it with a lot of pride. And we're suing because we're saying that we do not have the protection that we need right now. And we're just saying, we're not asking for money. We're just demanding that the force be at a certain level so that 7-year-olds are not shot in the arm, 11-year-olds are not shot, 14 young people are not killed. You know, I mean, and if you had another 10 minutes, I could tell you about all the shootings and killings and murders, and we just don't have the force that, even if they weren't demoralized right now, would be able to take care of our needs. So anyway, here are some of the headlines, and I'm going to wrap it up. NAS connects with scholars and families furthest behind and in greatest need. That's our sweet spot. 74% make $30,000 or less. We look for the children who are furthest behind in school. That's our sweet spot. And those are the ones who are home now, and not getting the same level of education that they were before. Scholars in NAS academic strategies have higher rates of proficiency than other comparable Northside scholars. Whatever scholar is not in NAS becomes our control group. Right? And so we can see and compare, and we get some of that same data because we have data agreement with the district and so on. NAS scholars in anchor schools are outperforming those in other non-anchor schools, and NAS has significantly increased access to high quality early learning. So these are just, and then more families we're going to work and getting into training. We're becoming housing stable and or making plans to do so. Where am I on time?
If you want Q&A, we need to wrap up now and then have Q&A.
Okay. So I am, so by the way, so the other charts, if anybody wants our data, I have reams of data around this. And what Wilder would say is that so this is before COVID, that there was a statistical significance in the data in terms of the kids who were getting this wraparound support in their families and the ones who weren't, and what we were seeing academically. We're not even going to be able to measure the academic impact in the year coming because the MCAs were not given. And that makes all the sense in the world. So I'm going to close and just say, I don't know if you can see this good. Anybody ever heard of the Human Tower in Catalina, Spain? So they, you guys got to check this out. But they have a 200-year tradition of 300 to 500 people creating a team and building a human tower. The tallest that I've heard of is 39 feet. And they have rich and poor, lawyers and waitresses, black and white, children, women, men, old and young. And what you're seeing right there is the base, and this is one of the towers. And it's the smaller the higher you get, the smaller the climbers are. And they climb on each other, they step on each other, and now sometimes they crash and burn. And they get shoulder injuries and head injuries and so on, and they continue to do it. The only reason I'm showing this is because, I gotta tell you, you all, anybody with any influence and affluence in America, have to see yourselves as the base. You are the base upon which our society is built. I mean, in terms of, because we have more time. We have more education. We have more resources. And so to allow people who do not, for a myriad of reasons, to step on our shoulders, because we're standing on other people's shoulders, right? Sometimes we forget that. I don't care how much money you have, you're standing on somebody's shoulders. To let them stand on our shoulders and to actually reach heights of potential that they could not if we were not doing what we need to do as an American society. And I'm not talking about a handout. I'm talking about making the field level for all kids to succeed and families. And then getting out the way and allowing them to become the base, right? And so we're constantly doing this thing. I think it's an amazing, 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 amazing structure. You guys check it out. So anyway, I'm gonna end right there. And I'll close with one other Hamilton song, and then I'm not going to sing it. And by the way, my father was an amazing singer. I mean, he would get, like, at family reunions, a bottle of Jack Daniels, and him and his cousins and brothers from the South, we'd all get together. Boy, would they blow. You know who he sound like? Anybody familiar with Sam Cooke? That was Daddy. And Daddy so wanted me to be able to sing. And I could not. So in closing, let me say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And if I meet Thomas Jefferson, I'm going to compel him to include women in the sequel work. That was one of the songs. All right. My fellow Americans, what questions do you have? Yeah.
First of all, you're absolutely amazing. We're honored to have you here. Thank you. I love the Northside. My mom grew up there, and my sister lives there now.
Wow.
How can we help? Are there specific ways we can help?
Yes. You know what? Yes. So the way we're going to transform things is through policy, programs, people, passion, like all of those things, right? And on a policy side, people in the corridors of policy making and power don't often listen to the people we work with, low income men and women, and certainly not children. And yesterday I was on the phone, my husband and I were talking to the Downtown Business Council. So we were trying to gain their support. We already have their support for the outcomes of our lawsuit, having the police that we need. But while we were on the phone with them, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, several rounds of shots went off. 5 rounds, 12 rounds. And I held my laptop up to the window and I said, do you guys hear that? And women, do you hear that? And then they heard the police and the fire trucks come careening down. And one of the business leaders, and they were all aghast, and we're all, we're kind of like this working, but one of the business leaders just said, "That's it." He said, "That's it. Can't take this. This can't happen in my city. I grew up in Minneapolis, young white man. Anybody under 50 is young. And he said, this will not happen. What do you need me to do? I'm calling the mayor. I'm calling the chief. I'm calling the city council people. We're not going to have this. Not on our watch." And my husband and I clapped and we said, "Boy, if we could get the leadership to sound like you, some righteous indignation." And after that call, he forwarded an email that he sent to everybody at the city saying, "What are you going to do?" And so we need you to do that. Right? You don't have to, and your sister lives there. You let your sister tell you the stories, and then you call and you tell them. I said to my staff today, I didn't sleep last night. I have neighbors whose children will not sleep in their bed. I have neighbors who are in therapy for PSTD. I have children who have been part of shootouts, 6-month-olds who their parents say are now inconsolable at night. I have people who shot. I just showed you Devin. Yesterday, it was just a barrage of gunshots. And then one of my neighbors at the end of the block had left, and the shootout happened around her house. And she came home, and we text everybody. We have a text tree. And she said she's thankful that they missed their doctor's appointment last week. And they had to go yesterday at 3. Because her home got hit, the living room, the dining room, and she said, "If me and the boys were home, the bullets would have pierced my sons absolutely, because it's where they're doing distance learning." And so somebody's got to be just outraged. And I told my staff, if I didn't sleep last night, so guess who I made sure didn't sleep last night? Well, I was trying to. I wrote all the city council people, I wrote the mayor, I wrote the chief, I told them everything that was happening, all my neighbors did the same. If I can't sleep, they shouldn't sleep. If I'm worried and stressed, they should be worried and stressed. And we need you, because when you all start talking, and you don't have to live in Minneapolis, by the way, you all benefit from Minneapolis, and Minneapolis benefits from you. Like talk like that. I'm not coming downtown. Anyway, so we need your help around policy. That is the strongest place. And we need more partners in terms of what we're doing. Yeah.
One of the joys of my mom's life was Grant Nursery at Covenant Church, which we all, St. Stephen's was supporting for 50 years.
Wow.
It's apparently, because of demographic changes, is not happening anymore. Little kids would go there for preschool, and they would graduate with.
I've heard of that.
There would be generations of
yes.
moms and dads would have been gone 20 years ago. Where are those kids going now? That doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, I was supposed to be repeating questions. I'm sorry. So the question was around, there was an amazing early childhood center in North Minneapolis years ago, not there any longer. So the question is, where do some of those kids now go? Because it really didn't make a generation. I've heard about it. So there are a number of early childhood centers in North Minneapolis now that we are all partnered with. They're part of that diagram that I showed you. And there's about 5 that we have staff that are located in their sites. Not now, we're all remote. They're not though. And so it's been amazing. We need more seats. However, COVID is really imperiling the early childhood industry. Okay, thank you.
Sondra, don't leave.
Okay.
For someone that didn't get any sleep last night, you are amazing.
Thank you. It's because I didn't sleep, by the way. That's right.
You are real, you have lots of energy and enthusiasm, and you get a lot of things done, and you truly are making the world a better place. Like Rotary, from literacy and peace to water and health, Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million problem solvers who unite to take action to create lasting change to better our world. In honor of your presentation, we'll make a donation to the Sheridan Story, an organization focused on providing weekend and other food gap programs to other 10,000 children in the Twin Cities,
Familiar with it.
including North Minneapolis.
Yes.
Thank you again for being here. We so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, looking ahead, that's the schedule. And next week, our speaker will be Nick Harper with the League of Women Voters. With the election day coming up, that should be a really interesting talk. I want to thank everybody for attending today. I want to leave you with a quote. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Frederick Douglass. Meeting adjourned.